Well, welcome back. We are into the third segment here, talking to Tony Cyriac. Tony is from Charles Schwab, and he is the Chief Data and Analytics Officer. We've been speaking in the previous two segments. So if you've just picked up third segment and you're saying, hey, where are the first two? Go check it out. Find it on cdomagazine.tech. You will find the previous two segments. Make sure you catch those as well. This third segment is all about enabling talent and a data-driven culture. We hear a lot these days about the importance of creating a data culture in an organization. So, Tony, based on your experience, not only at Schwab, but in the previous companies that you've worked in, where you've been in a leadership role around data and analytics, what's your perspective in terms of this whole aspect of talent and data-driven culture?
Thank you, Derek, for this interview series. I'll start by reiterating our mission as a team, which is driving client and business value, or accelerating client and business value with data analytics and AI. And we have kind of three pillars to supporting and executing on that mission. First one is maturing and scaling. Second, about driving value. And third is about enabling talent and a data-driven culture. So on the third one, I'll speak to that a bit more. So on the enabling talent and a data-driven culture. Well, I think, first of all, let's talk about the data talent in the company, right? There is talent inside my team. There is talent outside my team. There are people who, I call it data talent, people who spend more than 75% of their time doing data analytics work. That's the core data talent in the company. Everybody else is a data consumer. They're doing their jobs. They are an asset management professional. They are a management leader, but data is core to doing their jobs as a user group. So let's focus on the data talent and how do we get that data talent excited, motivated, enabled in terms of growing professionally every day, right? So that's the first part, and we start by saying, okay, do we align on a common mission? Yes, that makes sense. Second is, so we know why we exist, what are we doing, what are we trying to push for. I think the second is, to the earlier point about driving value. I think there's nothing that motivates people than driving value, in my view, right? So can you show them a way that we're working on things that will have an impact in the lives of our clients, that will have an impact on our employees in the company? That's important to showcase. And I think we have done that through the whole pillar 2 discussion that I mentioned is important. So you think of data culture and talent as a separate item. No, it is connected to the first two, because that is very important for this data talent, so that they can do their jobs well, they feel motivated, they see that they have an impact on our lives of our clients, on our employees across the company, right? So that's kind of basics that we have to do. Now comes the point of, what do we do in terms of keeping their lives simpler in terms of doing their jobs. I think this is my earlier point, which is we have to apply a digital lens to our data teams too, which is how do we get their experience to be simpler in the company? Can we give them tools, methods that are connected, processes in the company to be more frictionless in terms of accessing data, in terms of driving an analysis, having the capacity and the processing capabilities to do that? Can we give all of that? So we've had a good focus on capabilities that would allow for that, including self-serve platforms and tools, rewriting data development roles and data consumption roles in the company in a way that it helps this team do their job better. We are not done by a long stretch. It's a big digital transformation for the data team that we need to do, right? If you think about it. Then the point about growing them professionally, I think this is where I think we've invested a lot in terms of continuing education for the teams, and there's a lot more to do out there. And I don't think it's ever enough. But we have initiatives like what we call a professional development day, for example, in our digital services organization. What it does is one full day a quarter is just dedicated to people taking time off and learning something that is valuable for them, professionally growing. So we give them the time. We also have Focus Friday ideas, which many companies have implemented, which allows for a segment without any meetings or any other distractions for you to focus and learn and study, or do things that are really experiment oriented that would help you, right? So things like that are professional development ideas. We have a larger the way we work program that allows and supports all of that effectively, right? Another key point we have been working on is how do we have a consistent job family across the company for data and analytics, a specialized understanding of the jobs that are existing. Why? Because it then helps us take this broader data talent in the company, which is in my central team or in various businesses, and how do we allow them opportunities to rotate, do job shadowing, or when we hire talent into the company, we could say the data science job posting is the same, irrespective of which team posts it, right? So
Right.
we can share the candidate pool and things like that. So internal, external focus through job rotations, job families is something that we want to do as well. So that's kind of the spectrum on the enabling talent point, I would say. A lot to do in this space. And I think we've, in my experience across multiple companies, I think this is an area, there's a lot to do for everyone. I don't think nobody's at a good spot in that sense, to the best of my knowledge. The second half of it, which is enabling a data-driven culture, that's an interesting one where we've come to the point of, yes, we can talk about getting the insights into the hands of the consumers who use it day to day, make it easy for them. Self-serve capabilities are important. Data literacy is important. What data do we have? When can they access it? For what purpose? All of that is important. But I also now orient to a little bit of what I call data curiosity, which is, are your business leaders at various levels asking the right questions of the data? I think we have a lot of data. Asking the right questions really matter, because that's the only way you're gonna get value out of it in most actionable ways for the decision you're trying to make. And I think that's an area of focus we want to double down on further in terms of driving data curiosity across the firm. And there's a role my team can play in that, which is very interesting too, which is, the push in our team is to say, can we do proactive insights? Which means there are questions that the business asks and we can hunt and find the answer. But looking at the data, you are at the table of the business. You have enough context? Can you think of the 3 signals in data that could change something in the business that they haven't even asked the question on? So proactive insights is something we are trying to drive in the team. So data curiosity, proactive insights are the kind of 2 lenses that we're trying to apply as well in driving that data-driven culture. Of course, it's in this larger umbrella of data literacy and other aspects like self-serve and data awareness that we are trying to drive.
Very interesting. Yeah, I like the proactive side of it, because there's so many situations where businesses have been thinking in a certain way for decades, and that has shaped their desire for specific types of data and specific sets of questions. And it's almost like they got blinkers on, and that's all that they're looking for. And there's all this other wonderful stuff around there that they're not seeing, and so empowering your teams to take the approach of not simply being kind of order takers of reacting to what the business requires, but actually being proactive and placing the right kind of almost impulses into the brain of the organization to say, hey, have you thought of this? is a great way to go. So, you know, I applaud you guys for taking that approach. Yeah, so thanks for sharing that with us. I think just you know, as we get to the close of these three segments that we've had, I'd be really curious if we could just take a moment just to kind of step back and kind of put it all into a nutshell in terms of what are the key things that you feel like you have learned across the experiences in all these different companies that you'd like to kind of leave as a parting thought for the audience?
Yeah, it's a tough one to summarize, but let me take a stab at it. I think my biggest learning in all of the efforts around data and analytics at all of these firms is it's about the people. It is, we are trying to solve, you know, real problems and challenges for people who are clients, and we are trying to, you know, do everything to support that. But for that, it's also about your own team who is trying to, you know, be delivering value, but they want to be, you want to get them excited about it. It's about your business partners who are also people who are trying to do their jobs and drive value, and you're trying to accelerate, enable them in that process. So the key thing is it's about people, and you want to make sure you have listened, you have understood their challenges, you want to bring them along the journey in thinking through the plan, the approach, your mission statement, in your execution, and all along. So it's a lot about the people. I think that's the biggest takeaway, I would say. Data is, you know, for the people, and I think we shouldn't lose sight of it in that sense.
Excellent, excellent. Tony, I think on that note, I just want to say thank you very much for providing your insights. It's been very valuable. I think you've given our audience a bunch of really good pointers to go and really chew on and think about. You know, really appreciate the time that you've spent with us in putting this together, and wishing you all the best to continue success with everything that you are doing with your team there at Schwab. So to our audience, I just want to say thank you for sticking with us. It's 3 segments. Hopefully you've picked all of them up. If you haven't, go back, go find those other 2 and make sure that you take it all in. So and also be sure to check back on cdomagazine.tech. You'll find lots of other really great material there, lots of excellent interviews and lots of great input. So thanks for joining us. And once again, Tony, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Derek. Really appreciate the opportunity to speak with you and this forum. Thank you.